Welcome to episode 7 of the Southern Citizen Podcast. I'm your host, Hope Newsom Staples. On the show, we talk to those I love to call Southern citizens. To be a Southern citizen, you have to meet 2 requirements. Number 1, you have to call the American South home, and number 2, you must be 75 years or older. On April 27th of this year, the YWCO in downtown Laurel, Mississippi held its centennial celebration. Over the last 100 years, the YWCO, which stands for Young Women's Christian Organization, has been offering classes, events, and volunteer opportunities to enrich the lives of women and children in our community. During this episode, you'll hear from some of the folks that came out to the centennial celebration as they share their earliest and fondest memories at the YWCO. If you would like to learn more about the YWCO and how you can get involved with this organization, you can visit the website at ywcolaurel.com. We can also be found on Facebook and Instagram, or you could just give us a call at 601-428-5694. Now listen in as we celebrate and reminisce about 100 years at the YWCO. We're at the YWCO today celebrating our 100th anniversary of being here in the downtown area. Our building is turning 100 years old, and I am working on a special project where I'm going to interview folks who come through today and ask them to tell me about their most memorable moment or memory or experience at the YWCO in Laurel. And I've got my first person in the chair. So if you'll please introduce yourself.
My name is Christy Hollingsworth Olson.
All right, Christy, will you tell me when and where you were born?
I was born in Laurel, Mississippi back in 1978.
Christy, can you tell me what is your favorite memory of the YWCO?
Wow, I have many. But
Share as
one
many
that
as you'd
I
like.
can really recall is coming to the YWCO as a little girl, going up those stairs to make my first pair of shorts.
Oh, it was like a sewing class?
Sewing class.
Who was the teacher, do you know?
I don't remember right off, but I know that I was really, really excited about those shorts. Like, I wanted to wear them, like, all the time.
And did you make those shorts? Did you accomplish your goal?
I did.
And you wore them?
We did. It was a lot of fun. I also enjoy coming to the YWCO to volunteer.
You're a board member, right?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
And we appreciate that.
Thank you.
So what about in recent years? What's some of your favorite experiences here at the Y? I feel like bingo night's going to be
I
the
love
top.
bingo night. I love bingo night, being able to see all the people coming out, just getting together, running into people that you haven't seen in years.
Exactly. And bingo night is so fun because I feel like it brings in a totally different crowd than
It
what
does.
is normally in downtown Laurel.
Yes.
And I think that's so cool.
Lots of fun.
Well, Christy, thank you so much for sharing your memories of
Thank
the
you.
YWCO. All right, can you tell me your name?
My name is Fredna Craven.
All right, Miss Fredna, can you tell me when and where you were born?
Yes, I can. I was born right here in Laurel, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
I was born at Laurel General Hospital, which no longer exists.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. And when's your birthday?
8744.
8744. All right.
This year's our big year. We're going to all turn 80 this year.
That's awesome.
All my classmates.
Okay. Where did you go to high school?
At George S. Gardner High School.
Okay. Which is no longer.
Right. And we were the last class. The class of 62 was the last class to graduate from George S. Gardner.
Are you guys going to celebrate?
Oh, we have.
You've been celebrating.
Yes, we've
Okay.
had several reunions.
So, can you tell me what is your connection to the YWCO here in downtown Laurel?
When I worked at First National Bank, which became Deposit Guarantee, right down the street, and I came up here and ate lunch on Tuesday when they had luncheons. And I also took as I was reminded a while ago, I took belly dancing lessons from Fran McBride.
Can you expound on what belly dancing?
It was an exercise,
Okay.
but we did learn how to belly dance.
Oh, okay. Was it women only?
Yes, women only. I also took swimming lessons in the pool downstairs when it was active,
Okay.
which is no longer exists. But and I've been to that pool several times.
It's beautiful, right? The pool was so
Right.
beautiful.
Right. And then when I had my daughter, when she was young, she took classes up here. She took gymnastics. She took modeling. They modeled for Sears when Sears store was here.
yes.
That was a long time ago, too. But then in 2000, I heard that there had an opening for director, that Rhonda was leaving the Y. And I came up here and applied and got it. And I enjoyed 14 years
Wow.
as director and saw a lot of changes over the years, and they've been a lot since then.
Yes, ma'am.
But I have a lot of memories about the years and the people. I miss the people.
Well, can I ask you a question? Did you know Miss Katie Lee Pryor?
Yes.
Okay, she was my great aunt.
Oh, great.
Yeah, her my great grandfather Hance Loper and she were brother and sister.
Oh, okay. Well, she's a cousin of mine.
Really?
Her
Oh,
family.
Okay, the Loper side. I wonder. Okay.
Loper side. My grandmother was a Loper.
Are we related?
Yes, we're related.
Okay, yeah. My whole crew is from that Wayne County area.
Right, straightforward.
My parents, my grandparents and my parents live in Strankford.
Right.
They're there right now.
Are
So,
they?
Yes, ma'am. So, but yeah, Aunt Katie Lee was my great aunt, and I always grew up of her, hearing her talk about the Y, but I didn't really know what it was until I became an adult. So I love that you knew her. So, what was some of the favorite things you were able to do as a director?
We increased our membership. We did a big campaign on joining the Y. We increased classes. The main thing was that we recruited young homeschool girls.
Yes, ma'am.
And they served the lunches on Tuesday.
Was this the Y teens? Or
Well, we called them our Y teens, but they were just workers. Now, there was Y teens when I was in high school here
okay.
that met and had different activities here. But I wasn't a part of that. But my girls that worked for me, I called them my Y teens. And the first ones I recruited was up. They had art classes upstairs, and one of my Y-teen girls was taking art classes, and when her mother come to pick up, I asked her mother.
Yeah.
And then she had friends that were homeschooled also. So it wasn't long until we had like 12 girls.
That's so wonderful.
Taking
I love it. I'm
turns.
homeschooling this year, so I appreciate that you reached out to that community.
Right.
So was the pool covered during your time? Or?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Can you speak about why that decision was made?
The story I heard, there is a fountain. What do you call it? There's one out close to Strankford.
Like a well,
Artesian
like an artesian
well.
Yes, yes.
That's it. Artesian well.
Like a natural spring, right?
Right.
Okay.
And it's under this building. And so it's constantly was draining water in the pool area
Okay.
and keeping it wet. And I think that caused it to kind of deteriorate to
Yeah.
a certain extent. And now there's a pump down in that pool that pumps out.
That's right.
If the pump stops, it gets a smell from still water
Right.
down there. There's also a well in the storage room down there.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And it filled the pool. That's what they used to fill.
Okay. Were you here when the karate program started down
Yes,
there? Okay.
yes.
Were you able to kind of help get that going?
Yes.
Okay.
He came in and talked to me, and we set up.
This is John
Yeah,
Chiyoko.
John.
Okay. So he came and spoke to you
Right.
during that time you were
and
here.
set up the karate class.
And that has been such an asset to our
Yes,
community.
it has. And when I first came here, of course, we had the square dancers. We had a lot of different activities going on that had been here for a long time, and I knew about them.
Yes,
'cause
ma'am.
I think there were 3 couples that were from the bank that was in the square dancers. So I
And they're still here.
they're still here.
I love them. The square dancers are such a just treasure, I feel like, to the
Right.
YWCO.
They were here one night. I tell you this story, and I got a call, and they said the lights is out at the Y. So I came up here, and a bird had somehow out there at the light wires had gotten into the wires. I don't know how they did, but it knocked the power off and fried the bird. So I had to call the Mississippi Power to come up here and get the power back on. And they kept saying, well, we didn't do nothing. We paid our rent. I said, it wasn't y'all, it was a bird.
Were they dancing downstairs at the time?
No, they were upstairs. At
Okay,
that
in the
time.
auditorium. Okay.
But all the lights went out in the whole building.
So was your mom involved in the Y?
No.
Okay, but she would bring you here as a little girl for classes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So can you speak a little bit about how things are looking now as far as the building?
I would love to. Everything looks great. I love all the colors that makes it look like it's 100 years old.
Right, yeah. That was important to us
Right.
to do
the
that.
colors. And of course, I'm glad the art's still here. Sherry was here when I was here. The piano teacher.
What do you think about that central heat and air in the auditorium? No more window units, huh?
Right. That is great. That is one of the greatest.
I bet that
Assets.
auditorium could get so hot in the summertime.
Yes.
You could not cool it down.
And people would say, well, can't you turn up the air conditioner? I said, when you get 100 people
That's right.
at 98.5.
And those windows, too, with the
Yes,
sun.
the sun coming there. Now, a long time ago, I was a member of the Laurel Business and Professional Women, and we met here. And we had an Easter breakfast every year. Lasted for several years. But we had a cross that we set in a certain place in that auditorium that the sun shined through the windows across it on Easter morning.
How beautiful.
And then we'd put lilies down there. And then we'd decorate the tables for Easter and serve breakfast and have a speaker and music and all. And we would have way over 100 people.
Would
for
that be like
event.
on the Saturday before Easter?
No, that was on the Sunday morning.
Y'all would do an Easter service here? Were you here as director when the book room was sort of
Yes.
developed? Okay.
I suggested to Jane, since she knew the Marson boy, man, that worked at Masonite.
Uh-huh.
She went to school with him. And I said, go talk to him and see if he will sponsor our book room, and we'll name it after his mother, who was a volunteer here, Mary
Okay.
Marson.
Okay.
And so he did. He finally got Masonite workers to come up here and redo it, paint it, everything. And we named it Mary Marson.
Well, it's been an
after his
asset.
mother. And she lived to be 100, but she's gone now.
Wow. Okay.
And she was here every Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I just appreciate the legacy that you've left here at the YWCO, and
you.
I hope that you continue to be a part of our organization.
Yes.
Do you have any final thoughts or stories you'd like to share?
Well, I'm just glad that I was able to come and help y'all celebrate your 100th anniversary. I remember celebrating like 95, and I thought, well, I'll never make it to 100, but I'm so glad I was able to come and be with y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll tell you this, we had Celebrate America,
Right.
which is a patriotic program. And I dressed up in this with a wig, a red wig.
So this is a Celebrate America program that we would do around 4th of July?
Right.
Okay. And it was just
weekend before.
patriotism. Okay. So you had a wig. Okay.
And I had on a fur coat, and this is in June.
Was this when you were the director?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And the president was up and introducing everything, and I came in the door, and I said, Madam President, I hear y'all having a celebration, and I want to get in on it, you know. And I went right on up to the microphone, and I had this tote in my arm. And I said, I've got some notes here. I said, by the way, my name is Laurel Young. And I said, this is my place here. And I come in from New York, because that's where it originally came from. And I said, I come to help y'all celebrate. But anyway, it was all to just bring the fact that we are celebrating our birthday and
I
for
love
the
it.
nation. But that's one of the things that I did. Everybody remembers me dressed. Nobody knew who I was.
I love that.
And then they realized that it was me, that I had disappeared from the head table.
And they kept you around after that?
And my daughter was here, and she was going, oh, my gosh.
Well, just thank you so much for your support of the Y, and then just your time. You were here, 14 years
14
as
years.
director?
Yes.
And that's important.
It is, and it was part of my heart.
Well, and maintaining this building is a job.
It is.
And it's something that we want to have as a treasure in downtown Laurel.
Right.
So come play bingo with us one night. Have you been to bingo night yet?
No, we were coming, and I can't remember what happened. But anyway, we'll make another plan to
You
come.
and some of those classmates need to come celebrate one night and play bingo, right?
Yes.
For your 80th birthday?
Come play bingo at the
That's
Y.
right. You might win some money. So,
Yes.
Well, Miss Fredna, thank you so much for your
Thank you,
memories.
and I'm nice to meet you,
Yes,
cousin.
That's right. I just met a cousin, family. That's right. When I press pause, we'll have to figure out how close we are.
Okay.
Okay, can you introduce yourself for me?
Yes, I'd be happy to. My name is Roma Ram,
Uh-huh.
and Lebanese family here. I'll tell you later.
Oh, fun.
Some people pronounce it Raham, and I'm Graham.
Love
so
it.
it's Roma Ram Graham.
Roma Ram Graham. I love that name. Well, can you tell me when you were born and where you were born?
Yeah, I was born here in Laurel, Mississippi
Okay.
in 1956,
Which-
here at the hospital
Okay.
at Jones County Community Hospital
Which
at the
is
time.
no
which-
longer?
No,
or-
it is the South Central.
Okay, I
Yeah.
love that.
Okay.
Well, so, Miss Roma, can you first of all tell me what is since you're from here, what is probably your earliest memory of the YWCO?
Of the Y? Okay. We did swimming and swim lessons here.
Okay.
And I remember she's been a member all her life. She just recently passed away. She was 94.
Wow.
So they'd have their luncheons and things here, and we enjoyed. I'd go some with her. With school, it was kind of hard, but we did that. Plus, I took class in baton and things, and always it was
Baton.
always fun.
Where in the building was that held, you think? Upstairs, maybe? or-
Upstairs, I think, or maybe downstairs where on the basement
'Cause, I
side,
mean, a
not where the swimming
baton,
pool
you gotta-
was. Yeah, and we did it outside some, and then we'd go in to
how
practice some of our
fun.
little drills. And
Who taught that?
and then one time my cousin Rose
Uh-huh.
Ram taught
I love that.
it was really fun. And then from that I took I'm trying to think, after that we had a lot of fun with just meeting, and there was always a club or some interesting program. I think I enjoyed some of the different programs.
Yeah.
I'd come with Mother,
Yes.
and they do fundraisers or
Yes.
things for the community, or a ladies function, basically being
Yeah.
what it was here.
Yeah, exactly.
There was not really that many places that offered meetings or some informational outreach besides just going to your class.
that focused on women,
with
really.
focus on women. Back in the day when
Yeah.
it wasn't the norm to focus on women as they
Exactly.
are now.
Was your mom ever a board member or anything?
She was not, but my good friend Leah Millicar, her mother, is in the picture here today. She was on the board, and my cousins Elaine and Alice Marie Ram,
Yeah.
her Mrs. Fedwa Ram, which is Wally Ram's wife,
Uh-huh.
Fedwa. She was our picture here that you see on the table here. She was on our board for years. She was also the editor of the Laurel Call for so many years.
Well, so can you talk a bit about, thank you for sharing your childhood memories, but then how have you been involved here at the Y?
Okay, well, over time, since high school, besides my classes I would love to try to attend, they asked me to come teach an exercise class, and so I started doing that some.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then when Miss Fran McBride was director at the time, which was before Friedna, she asked me to come do a Middle Eastern belly dance class, so I helped teach that.
Okay.
And people came for exercise because you can really.
So you taught the Middle Eastern belly?
Yeah, I did.
You got to get you back on the schedule.
You can tell I need to be working on it more.
I need it.
But it is what I love about it. You put music with something, and they learn different moves, and it is really a good exercise.
I bet.
And before you know it, 45 to 50 minutes have passed, and you think, oh wow, I've been working out for that long. And then of course at that class I didn't go into the finger symbols or things as much. We were basically talking about arms movement, walking, dancing at the same kind of consecutive moves.
That's
like that.
amazing. I bet you had like a core of steel, huh? Those abs looking good, huh?
I did.
Okay, so after the belly dancing class, then how did you kind of transition here at the Y?
And then after that, of course, college I finished and went on, and we lived on the coast a long time, so I just come back from time to time. And when we moved to Hattiesburg, I got more involved, returned back to the Y, because I had several students that would come into Hattiesburg to take my junior cotillion class. I was still registering admissions at William Carey University at the time.
Okay.
But I did this on the side just because I love it and saw the improvement of students and the self-esteem that they got from
Cotillion.
the information of cotillion.
Can you tell a bit about what is cotillion?
Okay, our program, the National League of Junior Cotillion, is a licensed program, but we try to focus more not just on dining. It's a lot more. A lot of my friends would tell me, why do you want to teach something that teaches you to be a snob? And that is really not because they said, Roma, you're so down to earth.
Right.
I said, no, let me tell you, education helps people with peer pressure. It helps you with your self-esteem and being more confident.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes what helped me is to know that if you can take someone that would barely walk in the room to shake my hand as our first exercise of our social skills that we start to teach, and it is introduction, that person eventually was trying out for a stage play at the school later that year. That kind of put me on fire to continue the program, because nowadays even more the peer pressure from our kids and family and students from all ages. But I feel like if you can give them a good foundation, it helps them. And I have students all the way up through high school, if they were interested. And even when I was at William Carey University, they'd ask me the School of Business to come in, and I'd work with some of their grads.
So like soft skills, huh?
Yes.
Like how to interact in a public setting.
Yes.
And that's
and
so good.
social skills from that. In fact, we would get publications, and they would say the universities and schools are letting us down as an employer because these kids are coming out of school and college, and they really don't have a lot of skills. What I like to tell them in class when they're older, you're not all representing your family. When, years ago, my dad would do a handshake for a deal. Nowadays, you have to have all these documents. And you still have problems with people not doing what they say they're going to do. And I told them, you're representing you and your word and what you stand for. And that's kind of what I love about it.
Cotillion,
because it also, and what we love and enjoy is we also teach ballroom dance, some beginning steps of that. So I also teach line dancing. The other day, I'll have to tell you funny, one of my previous students asked me to come to their wedding. And she said, but I forgot to ask you, Miss Roma, would you consider at my reception to get out and teach several line dances, because a lot of my family does not like to dance. And so they're not sure what to do. And so we did. And I thought, what am I going to do? They're going to think I'm crazy standing out here and asking them. So they put the music on. And, a lot of weddings or any function or party or convention, the band may take a break and they put on their music.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people really don't know what to do. And therefore, I got out and showed them some things, and some of them knew a little of it
Yeah.
maybe, or maybe it was a new one to
Yeah.
them. But we got out, and they all joined us, and those people had the best time. But
That's
it
so
also
sweet.
made me think, God, I've been teaching this long to where she's in her late 20s and she's getting married. So
That's
I
a
can't-
legacy, though. I love that. So, how many students do you think you've had come through Cotillion?
Oh gosh, this is my 22nd year. And so
About how many kids
we
do you
would
have a
probably
year?
have, I would say, at least probably 1,500 or more. There's no or more, because some years it's 100 or more. It just varies.
Wow.
So in both Hattiesburg
Yeah.
and Laurel.
So you do both locations?
Yes,
Okay.
I still do Hattiesburg and Laurel.
Okay.
In fact, I don't know if this may be dated at that time, but we're having our parents' reception here at the Y on May 8th.
Oh,
And
sweet.
that is just for an informational come
That's
and
what I was
go.
going to say. If people want to know more
Mhm.
about Junior
Yeah,
Cotillion,
and they
that's
can go to our
something.
website
Okay.
at it's listed nljc.com and /chapter/Pine Belt MS,
Okay.
and then the same way for
Yeah.
Hattiesburg. So
Well, thank you so much for sharing about that. And we just appreciate you offering this really important life skill here at the YWCO.
Oh, well, thank you.
And
And
do you
I'm-
have any other parting thoughts about the Y? Or
well, I'm just so proud to see Brandy's doing a wonderful job. In fact, when Fran was here before Fredna, that was my relationship with several. I knew Miss Powell years ago when I was young.
Yeah.
And so I think just seeing the different directors and seeing, I think right now, at one time it was kind of going through a transitional stage.
Uh-huh.
And that's when they asked me when I moved to Hattiesburg if I would come up and look at doing a class to help them. And that's when I did my exercise and then the dance part, as far as the Middle Eastern part for
Yeah, I
exercise.
love
And then I
that.
started instead of students driving to Hattiesburg, I started teaching Cotillion then too.
So Cotillion is open to boys and girls, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's what's great.
Okay. What's the age range?
We start usually junior Cotillion 5th grade,
Okay.
and we go up through 9th or older if they're interested. But there is a high school club program that I don't have going particularly for just high school yet, but we kind of incorporate some if they're interested. I do a separate. I've helped with people with separate groups, and then sometime I did the Boys and Girls Club as a donation type community
Yeah.
service.
Oh,
I do
yes.
some of that with the Salvation Army, and you'd be surprised all the kids that I want them to reach and understand
Oh, yeah.
about it. And they were wonderful students.
I love
So
that.
it comes. We try to spread out with helping with community service, and then
Yes.
helping people to come
Yeah.
and find out that they don't always know everything, and then they meet new friends too.
Yeah.
Sometimes they think, "Oh, why should I do that?"
Meet new
But I have to tell
people.
you a quick story. One little boy did not want to join us one year, and so his mom said, "You got to go. You'll enjoy Miss Roma. You'll like it," and that kind of thing. So he didn't know. He was very hesitant, and like I said, he wouldn't shake my hand. He didn't want to do something, or he did different. Just real bashful. Sat over there in the corner. Didn't want to be in it. We do role playing. I do social skills, like if they're going to a movie or going to a reception. We do receiving lines. We know how to let them go through things that they might experience, and
Real life
experiences. And so finally he started being a little helper, and then he transitioned. So they were at a wedding that summer, and the band stopped and the song came on, and the little girls were all standing around, and he gets out and demonstrates one of our line dances. And so after that, he was so excited, and he was the leader of the group. So after that, he said, I did enjoy a little bit about that cotillion.
Kind of takes them a minute
yeah,
to come around
that's right.
sometimes. That's great, though.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for having this here at the Y. It means a lot, and I think it really lines up with what our organization wants to do for young people, and
Well, I
we hope
so.
you're here for many years to
Well,
come.
I hope so. I enjoy it so much, and it brings me joy to be back in Laurel.
It's looking beautiful in here, isn't it?
Brandy is just doing a wonderful job.
That's right. I got to
too.
get Brandy on here. She's
Yeah.
our newest
I
director.
found a lot of those things years ago that she had displayed, and I'd say, "Oh, this would be great," but things just would get shut, and everybody move on with their schedule. And then
That's right.
now that she's here and pulled it all out, it's just a treasure,
Yes,
really.
she's
We've
very-
been blessed in Laurel to have the Lauren Rogers Museum when I grew up,
Yes.
the YWCO, and several of the older families that really kept
Yes.
Laurel going with
That's
some
right.
real positive
That's right.
programs, I think.
I agree. Just a lot of assets.
Yes,
So, well,
really.
I'm looking forward to that new. Send me the schedule for that belly dancing class when you start it
I
up.
don't know about it yet.
A
But we'll
40s and
see.
over class,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Can you
right.
do-
We'll, and in fact, I may have to incorporate a tap with it or something. I don't know.
I love that. Maybe get a baton in there. So, well, Miss Roma, thank you so much.
Oh, I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Okay, I've got my next person. All right, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, I will. I'm Dawn Trest.
All right, Dawn, can you tell me when and where you were born?
I was born in 1981 in Vicksburg, Mississippi.
Did not know that. Where? What?
I know, right? I don't know. Other than I think my mom was visiting family there. We did not live there.
Oh, okay.
And she went into labor, and so that's where I was born.
I did not know that, Dawn.
I
I always
know.
learn stuff about people, and you and I have known each other forever.
I know.
Okay, Dawn. So, can you share with me what is your earliest memory of the YWCO here in downtown Laurel?
Okay, so when Michael and I first moved back from Hattiesburg, from like being in college, and we bought a building downtown and lived downtown, I would rent out for the summer Sherry Taylor's art room and teach sewing lessons. So, and my daughter, who's now 17, was probably around 6 years old at the time. And so she would come and we would she would be my helper, and we would do like 2 nights a week, and we would do like a kids class sewing lessons, and then we would do like a mommy and daughter class. And we would just make different projects. And anyway, so Sherry didn't teach art during the summer, so we would come and use her space and just do sewing lessons. So that was my very first time like ever coming in this building. And
So you were an adult. Your
yes,
first
I
time.
was. I didn't grow up in Jones County, so we didn't come to Laurel, when I was a kid and stuff. So
Did you usually have a good response? From the
yeah,
sewing
we
class?
did. We always had, around 5 or 6 different people, which was really the most you
It's
can
enough,
do.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it can be it's very hands-on. So
Did they bring their own machines?
they did, but they could leave them if they wanted to for, we could lock it up. But
What was your favorite project that y'all made?
Oh, the most memorable was that we always did a drawstring bag for our first project, because it was something you could make, and then you could keep all your little sewing equipment
Yes.
in it, like your scissors and your thread, and it was your little bag.
I love that. Did you provide the fabric and things, or?
We did a little bit of both. So I would start out by providing it, but then people got excited. And one of the best things about sewing is shopping for fabric. So
Right.
if you're an avid, somebody that loves to sew,
You
you
wanna
usually
pick out
come
your
up with a
own.
collection, eventually. You just, and you buy fabric, not knowing what you'll make with it. It's just
Exactly.
something that speaks to you.
I have a grandmother with quite an extensive
bet she
collection.
does.
Yeah. I love that. Well, can you talk a bit about how your relationship with the Y transitioned in years
Yes.
later?
So, yeah, after that, I kind of had a break from being around the Y and really being involved here. And then around 2016, I had kind of transitioned out of education. I was not teaching. I was just kind of looking for something different to do. And Sherry Taylor actually told me that the director was retiring, and she was like, "You would be great for this job." And I was like, "I don't even know what the Y does really, other than has an art room, and I
Right.
have taught sewing lessons there." And so anyway, I came over for an interview, and it went great. And even though I had never worked at a nonprofit and didn't have a lot of experience in that world, I felt very passionate because of the history here and just the potential that it could have on the community, like seeing what it had done in the past and all. I mean, obviously, the only other reason I had always come to the Y was for Pancake Day.
Yeah.
And so just kind of having those special memories with my family. I was like, oh, this is such a great space. I wanted to kind of
Yeah.
see it flourish, because I felt like at the time a lot of people were like me and knew it was here and came here for Pancake Day, but really didn't know
Yeah.
what the Y did and what, why was
Yeah.
it here.
Yeah, I love that. So how long were you director?
I was director for 5 years. almost 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're the reason I'm involved at the Y.
Yeah.
I think you basically were just like canvassing the
help.
community.
Listen, I think if you've ever been my friend in the past 10 years, I've tried to get you to come be involved at
You've
the
been
Y.
on the board here at the Y.
Yeah,
No,
you
but
had a
it's been-
season.
But I love that because I think
Yeah.
that's how people get invested is through friendships and
Yes.
making that personal connection. So, do you have any other fun or fond memories of the Y? Or were there any programs that you were able to help get going here at the Y?
Well, I mean, I don't take credit for bingo by any means,
Right.
but I was here when we
Yeah,
started
our
doing bingo
board. Yeah,
because
yeah.
I feel like Marianne Stroka was really the visionary behind that event.
She was.
And I just never had done bingo.
Right.
And I couldn't see how that could be so successful, but
Right.
it has been like a hit and it's so much fun.
It's
and
a huge success.
It's one of those things that I just like. I love that it crosses so many generations of
Yes.
people, like, you know,
It really
children
embodies
all
the
the
Y,
way
yeah.
to, you know,
Yeah.
elderly people.
Yeah.
It's just like anybody's game, and
I love it.
it's fun. Yeah.
Well, when I think back about your time here as director, I do feel like you were here through like some pivotal years of like trying to figure out where we came from, where we're
Yes.
going, and as an organization, how to kind of like reincorporate,
Rebrand.
yeah, like bring ourselves back into the community and become relevant again.
Yeah.
So I think you probably were instrumental in doing that, Dawn.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that was a goal. I do remember like having those first couple of years of just really trying to, you know, because the questions that I was asking myself, you know, about like what's our mission, what are we
Yeah.
doing, why do we exist, why do we want people to invest here?
Yeah.
You know, as I was answering those questions for myself, I wanted to answer those questions for the community because
and we had to let go of some programs that we
Yeah,
had done
we
in the
did.
past and really think hard about because our volunteer base had really kind of gotten
it had
smaller.
really dwindled,
Yeah.
yeah, because I think a lot of those ladies that were so committed had, you know, gotten to the point where
Yeah.
they weren't able to do anymore, or, you know, maybe had even passed
Yeah.
away, and we just had to reinvent
I love it.
ourselves.
I think you helped us figure out what it is we could do and do well
Yeah.
and focus on those things.
Yeah.
So, and we actually, the tea room is now named after you, the Trest Tea
I know,
Room.
so sweet. That made me cry. That was so sweet. I
Yeah, so we
always-
were able to have a reception for you. And
Yeah, that was.
were you totally surprised by that?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, that was unexpected. I've got embarrassed because, you know, I don't like the focus to be on me.
I
so,
understand.
But it was really a sweet time.
Yes.
So
Well, we
I
appreciate your
always will
time.
be fond of my years here. And just, you know, to be able to continue to bring my kids here for things and have a little part of the Y,
right.
you know, that I can.
Because you guys
share
are
with
involved
them.
here in karate still, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We've done karate here for 5 years now. So
I was just thinking we need to get John Chioco needs to get up here today. I
He
need to text him and
does.
see where he is.
Yeah,
he needs to
he
come be on the
does.
podcast. So talk about his karate.
yeah, that'd be
Dojo.
awesome. He's amazing.
Earlier, and I'm sorry to keep talking to you, but someone was talking about the pool and the pump and all of that craziness. During your time here, didn't you have to deal with like the pool downstairs
Yes.
flooding?
So, oh my gosh, one of like maybe my first year here, it was during like that Christmas, New Year's time when everything is pretty much shut down and
Yes.
you're on vacation, you know. And we had rain for like 5 days, and I mean it was like torrential rain. And I got a call from John who had like
He's
6
the
inches
karate
of
instructor.
water, downstairs, which now is over the pool. And he had like 6 inches of water sitting over the pool, like over the floor.
Over the mats?
Yes. Well, we didn't even have mats at the time. It was just the floor. He bought those mats after this. But it took a solid 5 days to pump all that water out.
So that giant pool filled up.
It did.
And then
Overflowed into the space down there. So we, you know, had to pump it all out. That was a huge expense. And
because there's a
but-
natural spring apparently, right?
Yes,
Do you
there
know?
is. That's what I was always told.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who originally figured that out, but apparently
Another director earlier spoke
okay,
about that.
well, there's a natural spring that runs over underneath this building, and I think that's one of the reasons why they had to ultimately close the pool down. But it was during that time when we pumped all that water out, and we had the plumbers here, and so there's a trap door that you can open, and you can still see the pool down there. And that pool is beautiful, like the most beautiful black and white tile designs that I've ever seen. It's gorgeous. And then there's just this little hole in the floor where the sump pump lives. So I would suggest anybody
creepy.
that's running this building, Brandy,
Yeah.
to check that sump pump at least every
Set a
6
reminder.
months or a year to just make sure it's working properly. Because that's why it filled up, which it
my
could have been from the
gosh.
rain so much at one time,
Yeah.
and then the pump went out. But it was a big deal. So
That is so crazy. Love it.
oh yeah,
Stories
and
from the
then
Y.
the bats. We had bats one time, and I would just randomly walk into this room in the Gilchrist room and find a living bat. It was kind of like out of it, but it would be alive, and so
Oh my goodness. And I know you and I went through the saga of the roof here at the
Oh,
Y,
gosh,
trying to
the
replace this roof on this 100-year-old
Yes.
building is
never build a flat roof. Never do it, anybody. It's the worst.
it's a challenge.
It
It's a
is.
challenge. And people don't like to work on them either, do they?
They don't. There's just nothing good about it.
So many fun memories of this building. So,
Yeah,
but anyway.
it's a great space, though.
Well, thank you for your time and your
Thank
dedication to the
you.
Y.
Love it. Thank you.
Okay, I've got my next person. All right, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Lucy Helveston. I was Lucy Lau in Laurel. About 1955, I was born, and my first impressions of the Y were probably the swimming pool.
Okay.
Although we had a swimming pool myself, my mother wanted me to know how to do all the different strokes, so I came to the Y probably age 3, 4, 5 to learn how to do the strokes.
So they provided swimming lessons here.
Oh, yeah.
Who taught the lessons? Do you remember?
I can't even remember. I do remember later on taking ukulele lessons from one of the Tomlinson sisters.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that work? Did you have a ukulele, or they had some here?
Well,
or?
my parents wanted me to do something musical, and I just really wasn't very good at the piano. So Ann Tomlinson was one of the most attractive, probably charismatic people of my era in Laurel, and she was just great with children, and she made me love the ukulele, and so I wanted to sing. Come sing in the sunshine.
Can you still play the ukulele?
I can pick out the notes.
Do you have one? A
I don't
ukulele?
have one, but John has guitars and it works on that
Okay, cool. I love that. I love that so much. And your husband John, did he ever come to the Y? Like, do you
Oh,
think he was
yes.
involved here?
When I graduated from 9th grade, Jones Junior High was 7, 8, and 9.
Mm-hmm.
So we graduated at 9th grade, and my parents hired the band, the Classics, to play for that right here at the Y.
Wow. And
So
John was
we-
in the band, right?
John was in the band. Yeah. My dad actually told him if he would leave, he'd give him $50.
Did he do it? Did he listen?
No, they wanted to play
I love that.
for 25.
I love that. Well, earlier today, I think you were kind of mulling around the room, and you actually found a photo that Brandy had out, and it's a group of ladies, and your mom's in the picture.
My mom's in the picture.
So can you talk about your mom's involvement here at the Y?
Oh, she did a lot here. She was in exercise class here where they had those machines that jiggled you and rolled you and thought that was going to be reductive.
Where did that happen in this building? Do you know?
It was down by the pool. It was a
Okay.
room off the main what would that be, the ground floor or the
Yeah,
basement?
I think we call it the basement,
Yeah.
maybe, but
So, yep. And every now and then she'd bring me and we'd do it together, but
I've
it
often
didn't-
wondered
it
who
didn't
those
really reduce you.
because there's pictures around here of these ladies in these contraptions. It almost
I
looks like a
know.
torture chamber, but
Yeah.
they were
One of
working
them was
out.
a sauna. They thought if they sweated enough, they'd lose weight. So, yeah, it was one of those eras, early exercise eras. But
But they could come here, and it was just women, and they felt
Yeah.
comfortable.
yeah,
and-
it was the only exercise place in town. Not just for women, but probably for men too. We didn't have
Okay, so the
we didn't have
pool.
gyms.
That's true. So men would come in as well.
I actually don't think they did because at the time it was the YWCA, right? Not, so it was really
Yeah.
for women. It was, only women could come, except for the children's classes.
Okay, yes.
Anything goes in the children's classes.
Exactly. So, so you learned to swim here, or took lessons, ukulele. Was there anything else you were involved in here? through the
I was
years?
involved in some art classes.
Okay.
I had an interview for the Miss Hospitality of Laurel in that room right over there.
Were you Miss
Yeah.
Hospitality?
I was not Miss Hospitality. I didn't win, but I was interviewed in that room over there. They used it for a lot of community events, and I would say it was probably the main gathering place for anything community at the time. So I left I graduated from high school and left Laurel in 73. So all those years, there were different classes that I took here, and dance classes. I took etiquette, learned how to walk with a book on my head, how to set a table.
We had a lady earlier sharing about her cotillion program that she has here at the Y.
Cotillion wasn't in force yet here at that time that I know of.
But it was a similar.
So it was a similar. You took etiquette if you were a girl.
Did you ever come eat lunch here? That you
Oh
remember?
yeah.
Okay.
That was one of our favorite events when we would come back and visit my mom after moving away after I married, and yeah, it was a great plate lunch.
So your mom
nice,
continued to be involved.
Oh yeah.
Her whole life.
Yeah, her whole life.
Okay, so did you guys ever attend? Do you ever attend Pancake Day here at the Y?
Yes, every Pancake Day we were here as children, and then it would be an event that we would try to plan our trips around, because we lived in Illinois and southern Florida, Colorado, and we'd try to plan our trips around Pancake Day.
Okay, because that's an important weekend. So folks would come eat pancakes, and then you go watch the Christmas parade, right?
Right. It was in the daytime then.
Yeah, so that was a whole weekend. It's a whole thing. I mean, literally, do you remember, like, people would line the sidewalk, and you would stand in line?
That's right.
I mean, and it was,
it
it's
was
magical.
Just luscious being together, and everybody had such a good community spirit then. I think it's really come back now too, the community spirit.
Yeah. So even those years when you guys lived away, you would plan your trips home kind of surrounding Y Day. So that means your children got to participate in some Laurel traditions, even though they didn't grow up here.
Even though, we didn't live here for 45 years.
Wow. So even for them, it's a part of their childhood. They remember coming here.
Yeah.
Well, Lucy, thank you so much for sharing your
I enjoyed
YWCO memories.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you introduce yourself for me?
I can.
Okay.
Michael Underwood.
All right, Michael. And where were you born?
I was born in Fort Lee, Virginia.
And when were you born?
1954.
And so you're a transplant, right?
I am a transplant.
Okay. So how long have you been here in the Jones County area?
I've been in the Jones County area about 5 years now.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yes, and have loved every minute of it.
What brought you here?
Retirement, really.
Okay.
I helped launch HGTV back in the day. I was part of their team. I was head of the film division, and we did all the promotions for HGTV when it first launched in 1994, I believe it was. My memory serves me. So moved here, and my first recollection of the Y was actually looking for a location to shoot a scene for a film I'm working on, a World War II era film, and the stories about my parents actually and how they met after World War II. And my father was in the occupying forces. He was there in Germany, and met my mother at a Red Cross dance, and they fell in love, and they ended up living in Germany for a long while and raising a family. My dad taught military tactics during the Cold War, so he stayed there, and that's where I grew up. So I'm looking for a location to shoot a scene of that story, of them meeting at the Red Cross dance. And I was just going to do it as part of a promotion that we were going to do for the film. And so I happened upon the Y. And I thought, I bet the Y could double for this Red Cross dance in Germany across the Atlantic. And
because we have an amazing auditorium? Is that
exactly?
Okay.
Exactly. So with a little art direction, a little magic with the camera and lenses and all the rest of it, it could easily have passed for that time. But I needed about 30 extras, and of course the main characters, mom and dad, and I also needed uniforms of that time, and they had to be accurate in terms of the patches and all of that. So so I'm looking at this and thinking, I've found a wonderful location. It's perfect for this scene. But what's next? And then I ended up at the Laurel Veterans Museum. The folks there, I just have to say, were just so kind, like everyone.
It is such a treasure.
Absolutely. And so they helped me with the uniforms, and so we sort of got through all of that, and we have not shot the film yet, the scene, but we're still in pre-production on that. So
well, we're trying to get it all spiffed up for you. Have you seen the new floors?
It's amazing.
Yeah, we had it painted, so
Absolutely
central heat and air.
Stunning. Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to bring it up to snuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
No, but you know, for our purposes, it probably would have been fine without. But it looks great. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we'll still work for what we're.
That's
we're
so
looking
cool.
For.
So
yeah.
you're still trying to pull all that together.
Yep. Still.
Okay.
Yep. Still trying to do that. So we got a lot more pre-production to do. These things take a lot of time.
Well, I love that you still, even this building's 100 years old, but you see some value in it, and
absolutely,
I love that it can carry on and have purpose for the years to come. So, thank you for those memories, Michael.
Sure thing.
All right. So, do you mind introducing yourself?
Excuse me?
Introducing yourself?
I'm Dee Massey.
Okay, Dee. All right, Dee, can you tell me where you were born?
In Panama. Canal Zone.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Gatun.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, and when were you born?
38.
1938. Okay, and how old are you today?
89. We had a guy that was 100 dancing.
No way.
Yeah.
All right. So, really quickly, Panama, why were you born there? What's the
My
story?
dad was an engineer on the canal.
Okay. How long did you live there?
I was 13 when we left.
Did you learn the language or?
Oh, yeah, I spoke Spanish, sorta. A little bit. We had a jungle in our backyard.
Oh, my gosh. This is so cool. Okay. Well, that's awesome. So here's my question. What is your earliest memory of the YWCO here in Laurel?
Oh, I came over here swimming.
Okay.
Yeah, years ago.
So did you guys leave Panama and come back to Laurel?
My parents were from Mississippi.
Yeah.
So we were in Waynesboro.
Oh, really? Okay. My family's from Wayne County.
Oh, really?
They live in Stringford, if you know where that is.
Where?
In Stringford.
Oh, yeah, I know where Stringford is.
Out in the country.
Been all out through there. I used to teach out at before.
All right, Dee. So your earliest memory of the Y was coming here for swim lessons?
Right. No, I just came to swim.
Just came to swim. Okay, earlier we had some folks that came here to learn to swim, but then you would just come for recreation?
Oh, yeah. I learned to swim when I was 2.
In Panama, huh?
Yeah.
In the Gulf, right? Or
Yeah, in a saltwater swimming pool in Colon.
oh my gosh. Okay. So when you would come here to swim, how did you just like pay to get in?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Okay. Or was your mom a member, or how did that
No,
work?
we had to pay to get in.
Okay. So your mom would bring you and just kind of let you swim?
We would come over from Waynesboro. Shopping.
Okay. What else did you do? Did you take classes here at the Y?
No.
Okay. So after you swam here as a child, did you ever do anything here as a teenager or a young adult?
No.
Okay. So how did you get back involved in the Y?
I was square dancing over here.
Wow. How did you get involved with square dancing?
I was square dancing in Meridian with the Shooting Stars.
Okay.
And we came over here for the parties, the big
Yeah.
get-togethers. And I wanted to come over here and work, but I had jail ministry on Tuesday nights, so I couldn't. So when the jail ministry closed, then I came over here, and my husband and I started dancing here.
Okay. What year did you start dancing at the Y?
97 or 98.
Okay. Have you ever stopped, or you've pretty much consistently? Okay.
We've been dancing ever since.
How often do y'all dance here?
About once a week.
Okay. And what's the name of your square dancing group?
Laurel Airs.
The Laurel Airs. All right. And is it the same group of people every time, or is it kind of different
No,
folks?
we have some come in from the coast. We have some come in from Meridian. And then we had a couple this last week that were camping, going through, And they were from Louisiana
Well, how did they find out about y'all?
on the internet.
Okay, so y'all have like a network of
Right,
people.
we have a network. And
Did she have her dress with her?
oh yeah, they were dressed out.
So she traveled with her outfit, huh?
Right.
She planned on finding somewhere to square dance.
Well, they've been dancing in all these different places where they stopped, except for one place, and they didn't have a square dance club.
So she was ready to go,
Oh
huh?
yeah, they
I
were
love
both ready
it.
to go.
I love it. So how many folks are usually down there dancing with y'all?
We've got almost 2 squares now.
Okay.
We were one short of 2 squares a couple of weeks ago, and then we had 2 squares last week. But we also dance what's called 6 squares. I mean 6 couples in a square, so that if we're short 1 or 2, that we can all dance.
So a square is about 12 people?
Let's see,
6 couples? 8. Okay.
8.
Tell me about your outfit. Where do you guys...
Oh, a friend of mine in Texas makes these.
What?
She used to have a shop out there, and she makes these.
It's the most beautiful
She is one of the
purple-
best dancers you ever saw. I mean, tall, leggy, redheaded, freckle face, full of life. Yeah.
Well, that's a handmade dress.
Yeah.
For you, like, is it tailor-made to fit
No,
you?
she had a little shop in Houston, and they make square dancing clothes.
Wow. How many
Her
dresses?
name was Jimette,
Jeanette. Okay.
and
So,
her shop was Jimette's.
so how many dresses do you have?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Do you rotate them out, or you kind of just wear?
I made a bunch years ago, and then I went to Guatemala on a mission trip.
Yeah.
And I had kind of gotten bigger, so I took all of them down there, and they were fighting over.
I bet all these colors, huh?
Yeah.
So, are there certain dresses you have to wear? Do the Laurel Airs tell you, or you
we
just wear
have
what
a
you
club
want?
dress,
You
but
do?
it's
Okay.
blue and pale blue and white,
Okay.
and
So those are your club colors. So the colors you're wearing today, do they represent a certain club or just a dress
No.
you liked?
the blue and white were our club colors, and that's what we wore, and it shows up real well. I was surprised.
I love it. So tell me about the people who square dance with you guys. What's probably your youngest participant?
Probably 40s.
Okay.
We've got a baby. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a baby. One of our girls she's in her 40s, had her first child.
Oh, wow.
And so she
brings him to square dancing?
and she is right on beat, jogging up and down, let me tell you. She's walking now. And
How sweet.
she's neat as she can be. She's just sweet as she can be.
I love that. So how old is probably your most senior square
Well,
dancer?
there's 3 of us my age.
Okay.
Sarah's about a month older than I am. She's 89.
Okay. Okay.
And Janine is 89. And then we drop down to about 70.
Mm-hmm.
And then 60s, 50s, and 40s.
Wow. So for square dancing, I know you have to have a caller, right?
Right.
Okay. Is there music involved, or does the caller
they have music, and they call the squares.
Okay.
And we've got young couples down in Slidell, just down below Slidell,
Yeah.
in Louisiana. Big clubs of just young people. And they've got some over in Gadsden, Alabama.
Yeah.
They had 8 squares that graduated just recently.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So how did you get introduced to square dancing?
I was in Houston. I always loved to dance anyway. And they were having square dances out there. And one of the guys that lived in our apartment complex, he and his wife danced professionally.
Wow.
And he took me so that I could learn, because I was single back then.
Okay.
And
This is such a jewel of the Y. People just don't know about it. So you guys dance every Tuesday.
every Tuesday.
So if anyone's interested in square dancing, how do they find out?
just come on down on Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
That's awesome. What kind of music do y'all dance to?
Everything.
Okay.
All the modern. We
Okay.
had a guy that calls a couple of weeks ago, Castor Kane. He plays the old 50s, 60s, 70s music. So we dance the gamut.
So can you pretty much square dance to like any genre of music?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The caller is the one that
The
kind of...
caller picks out the music, and then
Wow. Do you guys have one particular caller or different folks
no,
come
we
in?
have different callers,
Okay.
and we're hard pressed to get them right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a caller?
No.
Okay.
No.
Is that hard work to be
Yeah,
the
no,
caller?
I hadn't got the patience for that. I'll be an angel, but I'm not going to do. I teach them, but I don't. Do
So you help teach people how to square dance,
I've
but you
taught
don't want to be the
most
caller.
of the guys in our club.
Does the caller ever get to dance, or he's pretty much just running the
He's
show?
pretty much calling. Now Carol can, if she puts her deal on, she can dance.
Okay.
While she's calling, and we had one or two others that could
Yeah?
dance while they're calling.
So is there any tradition surrounding the dresses? Like, do you have to have a certain kind of dress on, or is there?
Well, they wear the short dresses like this, and then they wear the long prairie
Okay.
dresses that come down longer.
Do you wear those longer prairie dresses, or
not
you
very
prefer?
often.
Okay. You think it's easier to dance in the shorter?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, what about shoes? What kind of shoes do you guys wear?
Just flat T-straps,
Okay.
leather.
Okay. Why leather?
Because the rubber won't slide on the floors, and if they wear tennis shoes, they have to put a kind of a cover over them so they'll slide.
Okay. Do y'all have requirements for like hair? Do you have to have your hair pulled back or anything like that, just for dancing purposes?
We just come as you are. And a lot of them come in what they've had on all day.
Okay, so you don't have to have on a
No,
dress.
you don't have to dress.
Okay. So do you have a favorite memory of square dancing here at the Y? Anything fun ever happened to you guys?
Oh gosh, we had the big ones in here, and the place was jammed. It was wonderful. Oh yeah, any of the callers that we had were really good.
That's awesome.
And we got together, usually in the summer we had a summer fundraiser, and we'd have a big dance in here, and we'd have anywhere 14, 15, 16 squares.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that place was packed.
We need to do that again. That'd be so fun.
It is. I don't know why the younger people aren't interested, because it's good, clean fun.
Sounds like good exercise,
It
too.
is good exercise. It's good brain work.
I mean, do you feel like it's helped you through the
Oh,
years?
yeah.
Like stay mobile and...
Oh yeah.
I need to come square dance. I can talk my husband into it, right?
Hey,
Can you just show up without a partner?
sure.
Okay.
But the guys, usually you have to drag them.
Okay.
But once they learn, they dance better than the women.
Okay. So typically the women pick up on it quicker and then bring the men along.
The women are more prone to want to come.
Yeah.
The men, when they pick it up, and they're really good.
So when you're dancing, is there a lead? Like, does the man lead the part? I mean, or...
I dance both.
Oh, really?
Mostly a guy. Yeah,
Okay.
because we're short on men. And so I
Do you bring a partner with you, or you
I
come?
don't have a partner. My partner's passed away 15 years ago.
Okay, so you just show up and...
Yeah, and I dance a guy.
Okay.
We have women that don't have partners.
But you don't always know who you're going to dance with when you show
heavens,
up?
No,
Okay.
we dance with different people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you meet people you feel like a lot of
Oh
times?
yeah,
Meet
and
new
we
folks?
share. We share, so that everybody gets to dance and everybody, has a good time.
Well, Dee, thank you so much for sharing. You're our first square dancer
Oh my.
of the day to share your experience. And we appreciate y'all. You guys don't dance on Saturdays normally, but y'all have made a special exception to come in and
Right.
dance for us today
Right.
for this celebration.
We're dancing today for Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So this is y'all are just
It'll
moving
be
your
like
day.
We were dancing to.
Awesome.
There's 5 Tuesdays in this
Yeah.
month, and usually if we have 5 Tuesdays, one of them we take off.
So you travel from Waynesboro, you said?
Yeah.
Do folks travel from far away?
Oh yeah, Janine comes from down south of Hattiesburg, and Sarah comes from over at Richton, and then we have a bunch that come from Meridian and some that come from the Gulf Coast down in
Wow.
Biloxi.
On Tuesdays here? Or-
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, Dee, thank you so much.
All right, I
You are
enjoyed
so
it.
cute. Okay, so I've got my next person. Will you introduce yourself for me?
My name is Marianne Stroka.
All right, Marianne. Where were you born?
I was born in New York,
Okay, where at?
Western New York, outside of Buffalo,
Western New York. Okay, and when were you born?
1958.
Okay. Now, do you know where you were born? Hospital, clinic?
I do not.
Now, how'd you get down to Laurel?
Well, my son was training at Camp Shelby. He had been in Afghanistan for a year, and he was training to go to Iraq, and they brought him up from Florida to Camp Shelby to train, and they set up a Catfish One trailer, and lo and behold, he fell in love with the girl cooking catfish. And when he got his 15-day break, he said, "Mom, can I go visit Mississippi?" And I said, "Sure." And he got engaged. We came for the wedding. We fell in love, too.
Was it here in Jones County? The
Right,
wedding?
in Moselle. Yep. He fell in love and got married in Moselle, and we came for the wedding in Moselle, and we just loved the people.
From New York. You were still
From
living
New
in
York.
New York.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were living in Western New York, so we were outside of Buffalo. I was postmaster in a little Erie Canal town there.
Okay.
So we lived in the country. It wasn't the city. I've never even been to New York City. But yeah, we found, I was a postmaster and they offered me an early retirement. And I said, thank you very much. And we got here just as quick as we could.
Wow. And you brought your farm with you, right?
We did bring an alpaca farm with us.
How many alpacas?
We right now have 15. When we came, before we decided to move, we owned 54. We sold 9 off. We brought 45. We've bred, we've rescued, we've sold, started all kinds of new farms. And right now the farm is for sale because I've been sick. And we have 15 alpacas at the moment. But I'm selling the farm with everything.
Right.
We were on Hometown.
Yeah.
And since that, we've gotten a really good agritourism business. And so we're going to sell it with the equipment, the store. You can just start right up.
It's awesome. What is your first memory of the Y?
When I very first moved here, a lady named Linda Cranford, who tons of people know, sought me out and said she had loved alpacas for years, and she knew we were coming. The man that we bought the house from spread the word, and she kind of took me under her wing, and she invited me to lunch here at the Y. And that's my first memory, was lunches, and the place was packed, and it was amazing. And I've been here ever since. I've been president a few times, vice president a few times, but it's just wonderful.
What year do you think that was?
That was 2012,
Wow, okay.
12 years ago.
That's so cool. So you and I have been on the board together for quite some time then.
Yeah.
Probably the last 6 years or so.
Long time we've
since
been on the
Dawn,
board.
So tell me about your vision for bingo. I think you were the person that said, let's have a bingo night.
I was the person that said, let's have bingo. I say, let's do lots of things. And usually the answer I get from here is, we don't do that here. And then I look
Not
at
just the
them,
Y, but just
not
like
just
in
the
general.
Y, just in general. We don't do that here. And then I have to say, just give it a try. And everybody was against bingo. And
Really?
I said, that's a huge fundraiser where I come from,
Yeah.
huge. No matter if it's kids, adults, it doesn't matter. Let's just give it a try. So once I can convince them to give it a try, then we're good to go. But we have just grown by leaps and bounds here. I mean, people have it's just fun. It's cheap, good, clean fun.
For all ages, right?
For all ages. Here at the Y, I mean, we're a laid-back bunch, but when we first started, who was playing with their toys, running their cars up and down?
My child, John Caleb Staples, as a toddler. That's
running
right.
cars up and down, and people smiling and laughing and just being friends.
That's right. That's right. And my husband was the caller for a time.
Forever he was a caller.
He's supposed to come in today and talk about his bingo experiences. But bingo really evolved, right? You guys started out like preparing meals for people, right? Didn't y'all do like a sit-down dinner maybe?
Oh, to get money?
Or no, for the first bingo night. Didn't y'all like cook food or did y'all bring food in? I can't remember.
We probably brought it in.
Okay,
We wouldn't
okay.
have cooked here.
And y'all started, then we had to stop. I think COVID maybe shut us down
It
for
must
a
have
while.
been COVID,
And then
yeah.
after that, really after COVID, like our
we
bingo
built
night
back up
exploded.
real quick
yeah.
after COVID. And then, I don't know where the idea came from to donate to a different charity every month.
Right.
But that's really taken off by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Because that, not only are we helping tons of local charities, people, as usual, come out with all kinds of support.
Yeah.
But
And it's different people each time,
it's different
depending
people
on the
each
group.
time. So now it's a whole new, venue that we're seeing. So it's perfect.
Yeah, and so what Marion's talking about is for every bingo night we have, we feature a different nonprofit in the community, and we either take up money for them, or if they have specific needs, like a food pantry or something, we might take up food. And the response is always so incredible, and it brings in different people depending on what organization they support.
Right.
So it's really been a great thing, and it's gotten a lot of people in our doors, don't you
Yeah,
think?
I
Marion?
mean, Glory House, the animal rescues, we've done a few of those.
They even brought dogs here. I missed that one, right?
They brought dogs, and a dog that hadn't been adopted for 12 years got adopted out that night.
So cool.
And they were just so sociable. But like Choice's Clinic,
Yes.
that big thing there was diapers. I don't know, besides all the cash, how many diapers they went home
Yeah.
with. But it's just, it's the whole section of our area, which is just amazing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, you've also done things with the arts and crafts group here, right? Didn't you start a group, or was it already here?
The group was already here. And I guess that closed down when COVID hit too.
Yeah.
But the arts, we met once a week, and we just do all different kinds of stuff. And again, it was a social outlet. But yeah, we had all kinds of stuff. In fact, there was just a lady here. She said, "Do you remember me?"
Because y'all would make just all kinds of things,
Yeah,
right?
nutty crafters, we
Nutty-
called ourselves. And just, a bunch of old ladies making all kinds of strange stuff.
Did you come up with the projects, or?
We all shared. We
Okay.
all took turns teaching it.
Okay.
If you're crafty, you usually know how to do all kinds of things. And
Where did y'all meet?
in the
Auditorium?
here,
Oh, okay, in the Gilchrist room?
or the one with the tables, because there wasn't that many of
The
us.
tea room, yeah. Okay. And then your granddaughter was a Y teen, right? At some point, or no? Or who was a Y teen?
Yeah, my
Okay.
granddaughter
Okay, yeah.
Alex was a Y teen. That was another whole area that was great when things were going so good, and we had the lunches and everything. The girls would help us. The Y teens would come in, and they just learn all sorts of things.
Well, and I think, Marianne, you really came in to help out at the Y at a time when the Y was really kind of having a hard time. And so you've kind of seen it revitalized, don't you feel
It's
like?
really exciting because when I first came in, it was going like gangbusters. And then all of a sudden something happened, and I ended up getting on the board. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but things are turning around. And it seemed like every time we got more people to come for lunch, we lost more money. Well, it turned out that in the calculations, there was a couple
Yeah.
of things askew. And so it was actually costing us money to serve lunches.
Right.
And then once the lunches stopped, that kind of stopped everything. And
Right. Well, and Dawn Trest was here earlier, and she and I talked about when she was the director, we all kind of had to talk about what were some of the things that we needed to let go of that we did as an organization.
Oh, yeah,
But then what could
absolutely.
we do well? And I think lunches were one of those things we had to kind
One-
of back off
and
from.
everybody wanted it, but they did. I mean, back then I think it was $5.
Right.
But then they thought $5 was a lot of money to pay for lunch.
Right. But then
So
you really
yeah,
weren't making, yeah.
We did have to cut back on a lot that was costing us money, but to try and still keep something to glue us together.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
The bingo night really has brought it, I think, the
bingo night
best.
is just-
I think it's brought out the best of our organization.
Oh, it for sure has.
Yeah.
And there's so many visitors.
Yes.
But locals too.
Yeah.
And it's just the whole vibe. People
Yeah.
say all the time, it can't really be like this here. It
can.
really is like
Yeah.
this here. I mean, it was like this when we moved in. People were waving.
Mm-hmm.
We'd walk down the street. You'd walk into a store. People would say hi. People don't do that other places. You
Right.
don't realize until you go someplace else. It's like, wait, nobody's talking to me. What's going on?
So was the Y your first community involvement when you moved here?
Yes. Yeah. First community involvement, the very first thing.
So it's really kind of what helped you
Oh,
get to
for
know
sure.
folks
Get
here.
to know people. I can't imagine where you would go to meet people if you didn't find some type of organization.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So right now you're sitting here draped in a beautiful quilt.
Oh, that I just won.
So we have a sewing class here, and the lady that runs the sewing class donated this amazing quilt that's shades of red, white, and blue. And we sold raffle tickets today as a fundraiser, and lo and behold, you won the quilt.
And I am excited. I know I can really appreciate the time and effort that goes into these. And she teaches classes here
Yes.
at the Y on Tuesday and Thursday nights, and it changes up every month. And she is an amazing teacher.
Yeah.
She's got the patience of a saint, and you don't have to know a thing. And she even has machines you can use.
That's right. She's been a asset to our
Absolutely.
organization. Kim, I believe.
Kim is her name,
Mm-hmm.
yep. And that's what the Y wants, is just that sort of thing. We want to build women up,
That's right.
enable women, give them strength, be community,
That's
just
right.
be here for each other.
That's right. So, as we close, Marianne, do you have a favorite memory here at the Y, or a favorite moment that you think about?
You probably remember more things than I do.
I remember you guys texting me when I was home with a newborn baby and my husband was calling bingo.
That was probably the funniest thing that ever happened. That was hysterical. We have such a good time with him. He's got such a good sense of humor. We had such a good time with him, and we missed Hope. And I don't even know how we got to talking about it. And he gave out her phone number and said, "Well, just text her, tell her you miss her." And Hope sent me a text and said, "Did he give out my phone number?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
75 text messages later. So anyway, well, Marianne, we just so appreciate your service here at the Y, and like the president, you've just done such a wonderful job of having creative ideas, but you also keep us in check, right?
I try, yep. I can be a slave driver, yep. We just got to check our P's and Q's every now and then.
That's right, but I think you can still have fun and do that.
You can, and I have totally different reasoning, again. You know, we don't think like that, we don't do that, but...
It's okay, though. But I feel like, Brandy came in as our new director, and our building is just looking amazing.
The difference in being able to have some extra money doing so good, that was always our big thing since I came in, is the building was falling apart around us.
Yeah, the financial aspect has been tough.
We couldn't pay salaries when we had employees. We were in a bind paying on salaries. We could never, it was... no matter what we did, we could never seem to get ahead.
Yeah.
And bingo is what really pushed us over the top so that we could start. This is our biggest asset, this building, and we needed to take care of it. And it's so refreshing now to see that.
It's something to really be proud of that we can do. So
it's not a money pit anymore.
No, exactly. It's something that's beautiful and the community can enjoy.
Yep.
So, all right, Marianne, I guess you got to go back home and check on your alpacas, huh?
Yep, back home to the farm.
All right, thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
I'm kind of nervous for this next guest because he is Mr. Radio Personality himself. So can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Morris from Rock 104 Rock Tracks, and it's a delight to be here, Hope.
All right, Doug. Well, thank you so much for taking a moment from your busy, busy day here at the YWCO. So can you tell me, first of all, where you were born?
Born in Wichita, Kansas.
What?
So, yeah, that's a long walk from here, I know. But my father was born here in Laurel, and I was born into a military family. And so I have a lot of relatives here in the Laurel area.
Okay, I love that. And when were you born?
19.
You don't have to tell me the year. Month and day. How about that? Month and day.
That and that.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay. Doug's being a little cryptid, but that's okay. That's okay. All right. So, Doug, can you tell me what is your earliest memory of the YWCO?
Let's see. Earliest memories. I've been here for a lot of for pancake days. I know that much.
Did you grow up here in Laurel?
Oh,
or you said you kind of moved around?
Well, I relocated here in 1992.
Okay.
So, the first time I've been here for a pancake day probably would have been about 94. Not much earlier than 94.
Yeah.
And so I've been to a lot of pancake days. I mean,
you stood in line outside and did the whole deal.
And the most recent pancake day was just last year.
That's right. You came back here to the Y?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So I've been doing that, and
then after that, do you hop on the float or the Rock 104 van for the parade? Do you
course.
ride in the parade?
Every now and then.
Okay.
Every now and then. I think I've driven the van a few times, and even.
You're gonna wave at me next time, right? When I yell at you.
Exactly. You got it. And we even had our van. Made like it was Santa's sleigh.
Okay, love it. All right, so you just can't talk about Pancake Day at the YWCO without talking about the Christmas parade.
Exactly.
Even though now it's swapped, right?
Right. Yeah. It's Pancake Day is like the day after the parade.
Yes.
The parade.
Which I love the night parade.
Yeah.
I love it. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your earliest memory, but that was as an adult, right? Coming in. Okay.
Right.
All right. So.
And I remember another time a good friend hosted a dance party for her daughter here.
Okay.
I guess she rented it out.
Yeah, we have a lot of folks come in and have like wedding receptions or birthday parties or stuff. So we have a lot of things happen in the auditorium. So in the last couple of years, or really, I don't know exactly when you transitioned into your role with bingo. Can you talk about that? Kind of the backstory on how that started?
The backstory goes, I was looking for something to do fun on a Friday, and I found YWCO was hosting bingo night, so I was like, hey, let's give this a try. So
How did you find out about it? Was it on the calendar?
Let's see, through social media.
Okay.
Through social media. So I attended as a player, and
Okay, you just showed up and played bingo.
Exactly. That's just showed up and played as a player, and
I think Will Tony was probably calling that night, maybe.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
And
We love you, Will.
and I did. I also shared some information on my social media
exactly.
as well, and that got the attention of Brandy, and so it's like, hey, appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we struck up a friendship there through it all, and
So you didn't know Brandy at that time, right?
not really, but in the months that followed, I come to find out that we have a connection that she. Is originally from the Huntsville, Alabama area.
Yeah.
And I have some family connections to Alabama, so that was nice to get to know, though.
So how did you get behind the hopper?
How did I get behind the hopper? It was originally on an interim basis, and then the interim tag was taken off after a while.
We called you full time, right?
Exactly. Pretty much there. So
we voted you in, Doug.
Exactly. And it's been a fun time ever since. And one of the great things that I enjoy about the bingo nights is that the spirit of giving back.
Yeah.
Where the proceeds benefit
That's our
nonprofit
goal.
organizations, and I think that's a part of a broadcaster's mission is to give back to the community.
Yeah.
And so it's been an honor to help out in that regard.
Well, we appreciate it. It's been a great partnership.
Absolutely.
It's been super fun. Have you been doing it a year? Have we-
It's been almost a year now.
Okay. And I will say, you have taken it and made it your own. I think you have brought a freshness to the whole bingo experience. So can you talk a bit about some of your antics during bingo?
Yeah, I do throw in some pop culture references. Like if I drew G53, I throw in a reference to Herbie the Love Bug.
Okay.
From the Disney
Okay,
movies.
G53. Okay,
and
Herbie.
N44, I throw in a reference to Ray Guy from the old school Southern Miss football days.
Yeah, okay.
Let's
okay.
see,
You've got something for everybody.
A little something for everybody, exactly. Let's see. Another number I'm trying to think about. B12, thrown in reference to Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah. You know, it makes me think of getting a B12 shot, you know.
You said it, not me.
People my age, I'm like, I need to go get one of those. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or B4.
B4.
Not after.
Nah, B4, not after.
Yeah.
Oh, good pun.
You can use that next month at bingo.
You, with puns like that, you could have a great radio career.
I mean, I might be onto something here. Yeah.
Take from someone who recently celebrated the 28th anniversary of.
What?
Yeah. The Rock Track Show recently celebrated 28 years on Rock 104.
That's so cool. Have you been on radio 28 years?
Actually, it's been 31 and change.
Wow. Okay, so the majority of your career has been at Rock 104.
At Rock 104, exactly.
That's so cool. Are you the longest running radio personality there?
Probably. Well, the Rock Track Show is probably the longest running weekend show.
Okay.
That we have there. The second longest running was something called the Classics with Steve Downs, and that lasted 20 and change, and that just wrapped up production like last month.
Okay. So was Rock Tracks your creation? Or was it already
yes and no.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was based on a show that I did on another station in town.
Yeah.
And so we remolded it, and some coworkers at the time joined in the remolding, and we've been on a roll ever since.
So any other thoughts on bingo? Any favorite moments that that come to mind, or favorite thing? I know you said you talked about the giving back. Like, obviously, as an organization, we're proud of that, and I think it's meant a lot to our community to highlight organizations.
Absolutely.
And people learn about different groups when they're here, and also every bingo night, it's different people usually that are coming in to support their organization. Mm-hmm. So, but has anything ever happened, or any fun stories during bingo night that come to mind?
Let's see. The bloopers, especially when
those little balls.
Yeah, those little balls somehow have minds of their own, and they jump out of the hopper, and then they just they're wayward.
That's right.
They carry on wayward balls.
That's right.
It's like they'll just
Yeah.
jump out of the
That's
hopper
right.
and then they'll land on the stage and I have to retrieve them
Oh my gosh.
like a bad man.
Well, tell me about your outfit.
Yes. I'm dressed like a 1920s barker.
Okay.
Because, you're just getting the spirit of
1924, right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
So Doug is wearing a bow tie, black bow tie, and his sports coat, I guess we'd call that, is red and white stripes with, I don't know what you call that kind of hat. Straw hat. And a little, what do we have here? What do we call that? Little
pocket square going on.
Yeah, a little pocket square going on. You wore this last month, right? For our bingo night here for the Y, too. So I love it. All right.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. Any last thoughts or any parting words for us?
Here's to the next 100 years of the YWCO.
All right. Thank you, Doug Morris. I appreciate that.
Hope.
All right. So can you introduce yourself for me?
Yes. My name is Sherry Taylor.
All right, Sherry. And tell me, where were you born?
I was born in Meridian, Mississippi.
And when were you born?
July 9th, 1964.
And can you tell me, what is your first or earliest memory of the YWCO? Do you have any childhood memories of the Y?
No, just childhood memories of Laurel because my aunt lived here.
You did not grow up here in Laurel?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so what's your first experience or memory of the Y?
So I didn't even know the Y was here, but someone told me that I could rent out a room in the Y to teach some summer art classes. So I met Miss Fredna, and she recommended that I rent the room upstairs, which is now the yoga room. So I had an art camp there, and all the rest of the times I was teaching at my home, but I wanted a place where we could be downtown to do some observational things. So I rented that room out, and then found out that the art studio on the other side of the hall was available. So later on, that ended up being a thing.
Do you remember about what year you started your art classes here at the Y? Or how many years you've been here?
Probably about 2011, 2012, something like that.
And that's been going ever since, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So how many students did you start out with?
I probably started with about 20, I guess, and now I have about 50.
Are you serious? Okay. So what does your schedule look like? What kind of classes do you have?
I've added days. I used to only teach on Tuesdays because that was sort of a homeschool day, and I taught all day and then had after school classes. But then as the kids got older, they wanted to keep taking, so I had to add different days for different ages.
Yeah.
So now I teach Monday afternoons, and that's K-5 to about second grade. And then Tuesdays I teach all day, younger and older homeschoolers. And then after school I teach the younger elementary students from first to third grade, something like that, the ones that can't come on Mondays. And then Wednesdays I have a teenager class, 12 to seniors in high school.
Is it homeschoolers mostly?
No, on that day it's mostly kids that come after school because it starts at 3:30.
Okay.
Yeah, and then because some kids can take at that point, they can take from their schools every day if that's their elective, but sometimes they want other electives, and so they're not available to do art unless they take it privately. And so I have 7th through 12th grade on Wednesdays, and then on Thursdays I have 4th through 6th graders.
So you're
after school.
Yeah, so you're busy, huh?
It is pretty busy.
Any plans to add an adult class?
I get
Have you
that
thought
question a lot. It's something that I would probably need to do in the evenings, and I have always, because I'm a mom of 4, and they're all grown now, but I'd just like to be home with my husband.
I understand.
But I probably will throw one in there at some point.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to see what the response would be. So how long have you, what's your longest running student? Have you had a student stay with you for years and years?
I'm trying to think. Through the years I have, and they've all gone on to...
Or have you taken anybody from like kindergarten to 12th grade yet that you know of?
I'm trying to think. I'm not really sure if I
Okay.
have. I haven't ever thought about it.
That's
a very
okay.
good question. I have Cade, who helps me now, and he he came as 11th grade. about 11th grade, and
Okay.
he's finished with college and about to start graduate school. But he
Okay.
helps now.
Awesome.
And,
Did you ever think you would have to need a helper? Or
No, I really never thought about that.
That's awesome. So what kind of art do you guys do?
A little bit of everything. My love is graphic design. I mean, that's what my background is
Right.
graphic design. But my love is graphite. I enjoy pencil. But
Is that your style, you would say,
it
as
is,
an artist?
yes,
Okay.
Yes, photorealism in pencil. But we do a little bit of everything. I really want them to know how to look at something and draw what they see.
Right.
But I like to see what they do from their imaginations too,
Yeah.
and stress that they don't need to be so caught up in making it look
Yeah.
exactly like the picture, because they can throw
Yeah.
their own style in there, and I love
Exactly.
to see that develop.
So the Tress Tea Room right across from where we are is filled to the brim with artwork created by your students, right?
Yes.
And so is that a pretty good survey of all of your different age groups in there on display
I
today?
would think so, yes.
Okay.
And even one who has done an internship, and then Cade, who is assisting.
Okay, some of your
So-
stuff's in there?
Yes. So
Do you have anything on display, Sherry?
I don't. I should.
So what are the different mediums in there? Just all kinds?
Let's see. There's pencil, there's pen and ink, there's watercolor, mixed media with collage and let's see, acrylic, tempera, gouache.
Wow.
I think, and oil.
Yeah.
I don't teach oil, but I do have one student who mostly does oil.
Yeah. Have you done anything with 3D? Like, do you guys do any sort of like sculpture, things like that?
Not with like clay or anything like that, but they do some different things with sculpting. Just
Yeah.
I can't even think of an example right now, but what we can do in our limited space.
Exactly.
And
Well, do you change year to
location.
year, you feel like, with your projects with your students, or do you kind of have a set syllabus that you like to follow? Or
I don't, because every year the makeup of the class is so
Right.
different,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of help me decide what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because it's just I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah.
I like to see what their strengths and weaknesses
Mhm.
are, what they need, and what they are really good at and
Yeah.
need to be encouraged to.
So you
go
don't put yourself
further
in a box. You want to
Right.
just see what your students want to do and
Right.
can do. I
Right.
love that. Do you guys do any sort of art competitions?
Only Day in the Park and the fair usually.
Have you had any winners
So-
coming through?
Yes,
Day in the
quite a
Park
few. Yeah.
That's awesome. I got best in show one year at Day in the Park. I think I was a 10th grader, and that was like the pinnacle of my art career. It was such a big deal.
I can't imagine that it would be any more fun to go to Day in the Park and see the ribbon belonging to me
It was
than
amazing.
it is to see it belonging to my students.
Do you go every
It's-
year and look?
Yes, it's so
Okay.
exciting.
I love that. So do you have quite a few? Day in the Park coming up this weekend. So do you guys have several going into the art contest?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Awesome. So what's probably the makeup as far as homeschool versus traditional school, your student roster, you'd say?
Through the years, it's been different. This year, I would say there are more after-school
Yeah.
students, but a lot of that is, well, I guess it would depend on how you look at that. A lot of them are homeschoolers that are taking after school.
Well, do you have any favorite moments or memories here at the Y in your art class? Anything crazy ever happened? What's the biggest mess you've ever made?
Can you think of one? I'm
Anybody ever spilled paint everywhere and you were like, what am I going to do?
Yes, there is. Through the past few months, we've been looking back through all the photographs from 100 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it made me feel better because one day a little girl, since I've been teaching, spilled an entire bucket of white paint. It just went sloshing across the floor, and I felt terrible. But then when I saw the pictures from all the years from, I think, before I was born, I saw a lot of splatters on the floor, so I thought, well, it didn't start.
So has that
when
been
I
an
was-
art room for quite some
I
time
think
up there?
It has been an art room for
so
a long
you were
time.
not the first person.
No, not at all.
That's so cool. Well, so Sherry, what are your long-term plans? Do you think you'll be here for a while? Like, are you?
Probably. I love it too much to not do it.
Don't leave us. Huh? We've enjoyed having
and there
you here.
I liked teaching at my home because you could do some other things at the same time. But I really like being in downtown because we can walk around and draw
Yeah.
things. We can walk to the museum.
Yeah.
Just a lot of.
So being in this location has really lended itself. It's been an asset to your
It has.
program.
It has.
What's your favorite thing to draw downtown? Or is there a favorite spot you like to take your students?
Well, I think the fountain because you can see so many things from there.
Yeah.
There's an alleyway that you can see. That you can see the fountain. You can see the Laurel Little Theater. You can see the courthouse.
Yeah.
Everything from just that little one spot.
Yeah.
And then we have the tradition of walking to the pumpkin patch every year.
Oh,
So that's a lot of fun too.
So you guys draw the pumpkin patch?
Yes. And we have a lot of those on the wall.
Okay. I need to get in there. There's some beautiful things in there. So much color. I love it. So, well, thank you so much, Sherry. And we just appreciate the resource you are here to the Y.
Well,
So thank you. All right. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Cade Culpepper. I'm a recent graduate from Southern Miss.
Okay.
Just in December, actually.
All
But
right.
I had been one of Miss Sherry's students for a really long time,
Okay.
since like 2017, 2018, when I was in 11th grade. And it really, I was there for about 2 years, right? And my senior year, I was working on 2 big colored pencil projects, just really photorealistic, kind of like
With
the
Miss
style,
Sherry? Uh-huh.
like she was talking about. And they weren't done. And I graduated high school, and of course her classes are supposed to only go through 12th grade. But past that point, I just kept coming to try to finish those. And from there, it really just morphed into me helping with the classes because I
Okay.
would come on different days.
Did you ever finish the projects?
Oh, I did. There was. They are
Okay.
in there.
They're
They
in the
are
tea room.
the
Okay.
tea room. So there was a third. I still haven't finished that yet. It's a little series of portraits that are based on relatives whose black and white photos we have. So we do have all of those in there right now, but just not the third. Eventually, I'll get around to finishing that.
So what's your favorite memory here at the YCADE?
I remember of course, everybody in Laurel remembers like the Pancake Day tradition with the Christmas parade and everything. And that's probably where my first memories of the Y came from, were from Pancake Day. I don't really ever remember doing many classes here or anything when I
Right.
was a child, but that was certainly something I remember.
So you did not take art as a young child? Not until...
I did take art, but not here.
Not from Miss Sherry.
Actually, Adam Trist was my art teacher back in 6th grade.
Okay.
And then I had him again at Laurel Christian School around 7th, 8th grade.
So you've had some really, really wonderful art
I
influences
have.
on your life.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. Now, did you study art in college?
I actually studied speech pathology. So, of course, then eventually, when I do get into a career of like speech therapy, that sort of thing, there is that intersection between speech therapy and maybe art therapy
Yeah.
that I've thought about doing.
I think so.
Not to mention, like, even just my experience here, I feel like I've seen just how well of a communication method that art is. And often these children's art expresses way more about them than I've ever heard come out of their mouths,
Right.
really.
More than they can verbalize. Well, do you have any encouragement for any art students coming through the Y?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do it on a daily basis. There'll very often be some people there's at least someone in every class who's just really self-doubting, looking at their art and being like, this isn't as good as I'd hoped, or something like that. But I really do think often that it is just a case of them just having looked at their art so much that it starts to just like be overanalyzed. And it does take often fresh pairs of eyes to tell you, hey, you are going on the right track. This is looking really good. There's just so much to look at in downtown, especially now that there's a lot of like revitalization going on. I see the life in downtown Laurel on a daily basis, and not in the least here, especially.
Okay. My friend, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure you talking to the microphone, okay?
I'm gonna make sure it works real quick.
Hold on, let me make sure it works. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Put
like.
your mouth close to it.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna do this.
Yeah, we're good. All right, you're
Okay,
you're
I see
you're
a
you're on
fashion.
fire. All right, look at me. Can you tell me who you are? Introduce yourself.
My name is John Caleb, and my name is John Caleb Staples.
Okay, John Caleb Staples. Where were you born?
I was born at night in Laurel, Mississippi.
Actually, you were born in Hattiesburg.
Hattiesburg.
And when were you
I
born?
mean-
What's your birthday?
My birthday is November the 11th.
What is your earliest memory of the YWCO?
When I was young, and every time the president was the letters, I always daubed a place on my paper.
Oh, playing bingo? Okay, you would use the dauber?
Yeah, like daub every time he calls something.
Even if it wasn't the right thing, you would just daub it?
I don't even think I looked.
I don't even think you knew how to count back then.
Maybe not. Well, that may have been one of the days where I only knew how to count to 14.
Well, that's, yeah.
Well,
So,
likely 16.
well, hey, what is your, so that was your earliest memory. What's your very favorite memory of the Y?
I pretty much don't have a favorite of the
Okay.
Y. I just like playing bingo. I just like playing bingo. Is pretty much
Your
It's pretty
favorite?
much my favorite thing about. It's pretty much my favorite thing about the Y.
So, who's been your favorite person that you've gotten to know here? All right, tell us who your
Miss
favorite.
Marianne.
Miss Mary Ann's your favorite person? Why is she your favorite person?
She's sweet, and I love her
Oh, okay.
a lot.
Okay, good deal. All right, any other thing you would like to tell us about the Y before I let your sister come talk to me? Okay, I have a question for you. I just thought about something. Can you tell us about look at me, what classes have you taken here at the Y? What did you take for a while?
Ooh, yeah, I just remembered the memories. Karate.
You took karate here. Who was your sensei?
John Chioko.
John Chioko. Okay. And what do you remember? What was your favorite thing about karate?
Talking to my friend Vaden.
Okay. Do you still take karate?
No, I quit.
Why did you quit?
I don't like it.
Was it hard?
Yes.
But what was your favorite thing you learned at karate?
I like the kicks.
Okay, the kicks. And then hanging out with your friends.
Right.
Would anything else you'd like to say about the YWCO? Or is that about it? What else? Say it. Say it.
I am doing a
Oh.
podcast at the YWCO.
And today is the 100th celebration of the Y. This building is 100 years old. Isn't that super cool?
Whoa!
Isn't that super cool?
Yes, I cannot believe that. But I did know that this building has last until 100 years.
I know it. We've had lots of people come in and talk about all the different things they did when they were little kids here. So I appreciate you coming and sharing your memory. Okay? All right. I love you. Okay. Let's let somebody else have a turn. Okay? Thanks, John Caleb.
You're welcome.
All right, sir. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Hey, I'm Jonathan Staples. Hope is actually my wife.
I was going to leave that part out.
Oh, well, it is what it is.
Okay, Jonathan, when and where were you born?
I was born in Laurel, Mississippi, 1984.
You were born in Hattiesburg.
Actually, Hattiesburg. That's right. That's exactly right.
This is John Caleb did the exact same thing. Okay. So, Jonathan,
There's
tell
Doug
me.
Morris.
What I know Doug Morris is still creeping around here. Jonathan, what is your earliest memory of the YWCO?
My sister took clogging lessons here when I was in elementary school.
Yeah. For those who don't know, what is clogging? How would you
It's
explain
like,
clogging? Like country tap dancing?
Yeah, and I didn't think the world was aware of clogging until the Tenacious D album back in the day where they had the karate, I guess, song or skit or whatever it is.
Involving clogging?
Yeah, and he talks about loving clogging. So yeah, it's just like Southern tap dance.
Okay, so what's your memory?
Having to come up here, I guess once a week, maybe twice a week. I think it was once a week.
What did you do while she was clogging?
And just sit here. It was a very boring time for me. This is before really you had like
there was nothing to do.
Yeah, there was nothing to do.
It was just you and your mom. Was it like after school or something?
Yeah, it was
just
in the
weekly?
afternoons.
Where did they do it? In the auditorium?
Yes, here in the auditorium.
Okay.
And it was
what kind of music did they clog to?
I guess mainly like country. I mean,
she went on to have a pretty successful clogging career,
I guess.
right?
I don't know.
Okay,
I've repressed all that.
So that's your earliest memory, not your fondest memory, though. So can you share a little bit about through the years? Do you have any other memories of coming here?
Yeah, so me and Will started calling bingo here.
Okay. Why did y'all? How did you get into that?
Actually, I think
we were desperate.
You guys had a bingo caller that had to back out.
That's right.
Or something.
We started out with one guy, and then he backed out, and then I was like, "Hey, Jonathan."
I think you asked me to do it, and the first time I called it was Will here. I don't remember.
I don't know. I think Will kind of came in and out.
Yeah, so that was probably what, circa 2016?
Early 2016, if not some of 2015, because we didn't have any children, I don't think,
That's right. No, we did not.
So it was either late 2015, early 2016. And bingo had been going on for a couple years already, but I think you kind of helped usher it into like a new era.
Yeah, I think so. And I do remember that night calling bingo when I walked into the auditorium. Like
the first night?
Yeah, wow, this is where Beck used to clog. So
was that the first time you'd been back to the Y?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And you were up on stage. Were you nervous?
Yeah, kinda.
What was your favorite bingo blooper?
I don't know. Me and Will had some. I think we had some nights that we crashed and burned. But
the crowd was always very.
Yeah, I mean, we were just kind of winging it. Probably my favorite bingo memory is the night. Correct me if I'm wrong, either before or after you had John Caleb.
He was a newborn. I was home. I was not
here. So
Hope
was home with a newborn child, 2 or 3 weeks old?
If that. I mean.
And I gave the crowd Hope's cell phone number and had them text her bingo simultaneously. And it was at least, 50, 60 people.
It was a lot. I was really surprised.
I don't think she didn't think it was as funny as
at the moment.
At the moment.
Looking
back, yeah, good memory.
So how do you feel? So you did bingo for what, about a year? Or no, probably like 2-3 years?
I didn't.
You were like a regular. People knew you.
Yeah.
People still
I guess 2023 was the last time I called, early 2023.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow,
no,
was it that
was.
long?
No, I was several.
Okay. So you decided to pass the baton on to someone else. How do you feel about passing the baton on to Doug Morris? You feel like he's able to fill your shoes?
He's Doug Morris. He's better than me.
Yeah, I had him on here earlier, and I told him he's really taken that role, and
he's
become something that.
Yeah.
He's like a legend here at the Y now, and we appreciate him. So, I think bingo's in good hands.
I'll be happy to fill in if he's ever absent.
He said that the thing that makes him the most nervous is when he loses a ball out of the hopper and has to go find it. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah. So especially the games that are like the railroad or the cross.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
not a cross, a plus sign.
The plus sign.
It's not a cross. People get really upset about that. The cross would be a higher up.
Yeah,
horizontal.
I know. So
it's a plus.
My thinking's off. So the railroad is just the B and the O.
That's a tough one.
The plus or the cross is every column, but it's the ones where you had to separate certain letters.
So it's a lot to think about, right?
Yeah, and you definitely he needs a wingman, and I feel like
a wingman,
a wingman, whatever you want to call it.
Well, so do you have any parting thoughts or comments about the Y, or any advice for the future?
Oh no, bingo's a good time. It's a
It's a good vibe.
Good thing going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, when we got here today, I was not expecting to see people square dancing. Or
Were you taken aback by that?
no, I was not. I was just caught me off guard.
Yeah, they're here every week. They
I
squared.
think we should set up the square dancers versus the karate guys.
That would be an interesting.
Katas versus square dancing.
Katas versus squares. All right. Well, Jonathan, thank you for your time, sweetheart. I love you.
Love you.
All right. I got to get my next customer up here. Thank you
All
for
right.
your time. All right. Can you tell me your name?
Sydney Rebecca Staples.
Okay. Sydney Rebecca Staples. Sydney, when is your birthday? When's your birthday, Sydney?
October 26th.
All right. Hold that microphone still. October 26th. And do you know where you were born? Look at me.
Hattiesburg.
Hattiesburg. Sydney. All right, Sydney. So what's your favorite memory of the Y?
Eating the brownies
Eating brownies? Where?
at the Y.
For what? What do we do when we have brownies?
Play bingo.
For bingo? Okay. Have you ever won bingo?
Yes.
You have? What? Did you win money?
Yes.
I love that. All right, Sydney. Any other memories of the Y that you want to share? Who do you come here with?
Mama and Daddy.
Yeah? Does anybody else ever come from our family?
Yes. Day, Papa, Ella, Henry, Oscar, AJ,
Mama Big?
Mama Big, Lolo,
Uh-huh. Papa?
Papa,
D-Daddy?
D-Daddy.
Yeah.
That's all.
Everybody comes, right?
Everybody.
All right. Well, Sydney, thank you so much for sharing your Y memory.
You're welcome.
All right. I love you.
I love you.
All right. All right. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Brandy Thornton.
All right, Brandy. Where were you born?
I was born in Athens, Alabama,
Okay. And when were you born?
June 1980.
1980. Okay. You're another transplant.
Yes.
I've had a few of those coming through today.
Yes.
All right. So, Brandy, can you share with me what is your earliest memory of the YWCO?
So we came to visit here in 2019 many times before we moved here. And one of my first earliest memories was bingo night. Like coming here for bingo night and like not knowing what the Y was or anything, but just seeing the whole community come out and play bingo. And it was so much fun.
Where were we in our bingo world at that time? Who was the caller?
Your husband, Jonathan.
Jonathan was the caller. Okay.
Yes.
What were we eating at that point? Pizza?
Pizza.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I think maybe we came on a night when there was a hot dog truck outside and it was hot dogs and hamburgers. And
no one's talked about that. We had food trucks come
Yes.
some during our bingo night.
Yes, because I remember that because my husband hates pizza and he had a hot dog. So
it was Bubba, I think. that
Yes,
does
I
the
think
hot
so.
dogs.
Yes. Mhm.
Like fire grilled hot dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was your first time stepping into the Y.
Yes.
Did you win bingo that night?
We did. It was so exciting.
So who was with you? Just you and Jason?
And our daughter Gracie.
Okay. So it was a family night?
Yes, and it was so much fun. And I was like, what in the world is this place? But I want to hang out here forever.
How did you even know about bingo night?
Must have seen it on Facebook or
Okay.
heard about it or something.
We did our job.
Yes, yes. And so I saw it and I was like, well, let's go see what
Yeah.
bingo night's
Did
about.
you know
So
Dawn at the time, the director? Or?
I think I followed her on Instagram or
Uh-huh.
Facebook or
Okay.
something, but I didn't know her. Like we were still coming to visit. And
Okay, so you had not fully moved here at that point.
no, I don't think we had fully moved here at that
Okay.
point. But when we moved here in October of 2019, that's when we became like regular
You were bingo regulars.
Yes, we were bingo regulars.
So bingo.
The last time that we came to bingo before the world shut down in 2020 was actually my husband's birthday on March 13th.
Wow.
And that was the last bingo night. And what we didn't know was the last bingo night for
like 2 years.
a long time.
Crazy,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So fast forward, you're sitting here today. And can you share a bit about your Y journey since then? Kind of how
So,
things have happened.
It has been a total God thing
Mm-hmm.
because I was in a job and I thought that it was like the perfect job for me, but that door closed. But God never closes a door without opening another one.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had been at home for 6 weeks. I did not know what that looked like. And Dawn reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in taking over as director. And I met with her because I had no idea what that even meant. Or
What year were we in at this point?
2022.
Okay.
And I met with her and found out more about the Y and like what that even, because to me it was just the place where we played bingo and that's where we eat pancakes, and I didn't know anything.
Had you been
else.
to a pancake day at that point?
I had, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. 'Cause
I've never even been. I've never been to a pancake day here.
Really? Oh my gosh, it's the most Hallmark movie thing ever. But yes, it was like amazing.
Okay.
And so I sat down and I talked with her, and then a month later I sat down and I met with the board, and like we kind of had some talks and interviews and came on board in September of 2022.
So September 2022. So you've been here about a year and a half or
Mhm.
so?
Yeah.
Wow. So what's it been like? What's been your experience?
I love this place. Like, I've never loved a job like I love this one. But just being a part of this community and just knowing that this place has been here for 100 years, like being the community gathering space.
That's right. And can you talk a little bit about, like, on a lot of our T-shirts and things, it actually says 1914.
Yes.
But we're celebrating the 1924 year as a commemorative year. But can you kind of talk about the history?
Yes.
Okay.
So they founded the organization in 1914. Okay. So these women came together. They wanted it to be a place where women could learn, where they could make friends, where they could... All the things that I found was so interesting because it was where these women hung out while their husbands were at work.
Right.
So this was like the place where they came and they had tea and they played bridge and they had all their clubs and all of their luncheons and all the things. And then the husbands would come back and get them. And for 10 years,
I wish my husband would do that to me. Like, just go drop me off somewhere.
Yes. Let me go have fun with my friends for the day. You come back and get me.
Let me take a class. And
also, who's at my house cleaning and cooking and doing all those things? Like, while I'm just having tea with my friends.
Yeah, for real.
But for 10 years, they met in different businesses downtown. Okay. And they met at women's homes and had teas. I even found some of the documents that talked about the homes and the ladies where they would have these meetings and their teas. And one of them was my house.
Wow, that's
awesome. I
awesome.
found a document, and it was a Miss J.A. Patrick, and it was in like the early 20s, and they met in her home for tea.
Because what year was your house built?
1915.
So it was a new home.
Yes.
A new build in the community, and she was hosting the Y.
And here we are, full circle.
That is so cool. Did you find pictures from that, or just
no? Just information of like where the meeting was held.
Wow. Okay. Well, so can you speak a little bit about the construction process of this building?
Oh my goodness. So they came with this hardy plan of like, we're going to raise $60,000, which to think about building this building for $60,000 is crazy.
It's crazy.
But in 1924, I mean, that was huge. Yeah. So they set out on this campaign that we are going to raise $60,000 and build this building. The community, because that's what Laurel does and apparently has for 100 years, came out and just gave generously. And they raised $63,000 to be able to build this building. But in the process of building this building, the architect died. One of the contractors was found dead. They hit quicksand as they were digging for the pool.
So the pool was a part of the original plan.
And it's a ceramic pool based on all of the documents that I have found, which is very interesting. I'm not sure, but it sounds as if it may have been.
But it rests over a bed of quicksand.
Yes. So how this building has stood for 100 years when we've been built upon quicksand.
And as natural spring, right?
Yes.
There's like quicksand and water flowing.
Yes. And all this paperwork talked about how like the inclement weather that they encountered was unlike anything Laurel had ever seen. Wow. But despite all of that, this building was built 9 months after the signing of the contract.
That's unbelievable.
They built all of this.
Because this is I don't even know what the architectural style is of this building, but it's beautiful.
It is.
And I mean, I don't know. You found the floor plans, right?
I did.
Okay.
They're crumbling and they're falling apart, and I really need to get like that figured out. But
so this building is 3 levels?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because in the basement is our pool, which has now been covered up, and that's where Laurel Karate Club meets, and we have square dancing, which is happening right now down in the basement. And
we're on the main level?
Yes.
Okay.
And down in the basement, back in the 50s, they bought all the exercise equipment. So that was the exercise room. So the women would come and exercise. So that was
machines. Someone earlier was sharing about her mother participated in some of that. Have you found any of the relics of that equipment?
Oh, no. No, none of it.
But just photos.
Yes, just tons of photos. Tons of photos. They lived their best life down there.
Yes. And someone said something about a sauna.
Yes, there was a sauna. It looks like a torture device, but
okay.
It wasn't a sauna like
not a room, but like
we see now. It actually was like a box that they had to be put in, and all it stuck out was their head, and they would close them up in there.
Sounds like a great way to like burn.
I'm like, don't sign me up for that.
But hey,
how do you signal that you need help? That maybe it's
but also at the same time, like it was kind of cool that was like for women only.
Yes.
And they like had a place to come and do that.
Yes.
Like, I guess they had to be a member.
They did, and so people have asked me like, because back when we were a part of the association, which is a nationwide association,
The YWCA.
Yes.
Okay.
And we originated as YWCA, and we were the smallest chapter in the United States when they founded this chapter in 1914. And we broke away from that in the late 90s because the stipulations and the regulations and all the laws of being a part of that nationwide association was just way more than what we originated as. For example, like Jewel Powell, who was the director that everyone remembers, she came on board as hostess in 1949. But in order for her to become executive director in 1954, she had to go to Richmond, Virginia for a week and complete classes and take exams and do all of that to be able to say that she was able to run this part of that association.
Okay.
So we broke away from that, and now we're just an organization, which is more fitting now because we're more of a community center. We're not just for members only for these women to come, because at that time, Jewel Powell, they had less than 100 members, but when she came on board, there were over 1,200 members here.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's unbelievable, actually.
I know. I was like, wait, did I read that right?
And really, this building, it's kind of hard to believe that it like could have that many people in and out of it.
Yes. And they had classes all day, every day. But in order to participate in the classes, you had to be a member.
Right.
And so that was how they had so many members, because there were so many things that the women wanted to be a part of, but they had to pay their membership dues to be able to be a part of it. So
we became an autonomous organization, YWCO, in the late 1900s.
Yes. Yes.
As they say.
Yes.
Okay, I was actually thinking it was earlier than that.
I think it was 97 or 99.
Wow. And what a brave thing to step out and do. And then they basically had to become like financially independent.
Yes.
And like
and the United Way has supported the Y for decades.
Right.
Back when they were still United Givers, like before they were United Way. So without that support of the United Way, like we wouldn't have been here all these years, because for many, many years, Y Day was the only fundraiser that they ever did for the Y. And so other than membership dues and the help from United Way, they had no support at all. And so now we rely on bingo night, and we rely on our rentals of the spaces and things like that. So
well, and I think a few years before, really after COVID and towards the end of like the shutdowns, our building really, that's when our short-term rentals just took off. And because people were looking for somewhere to have events, and there were just not very many options in Laurel. And that's really when I think people realized, this is in downtown Laurel and it's available to me. And then when you came on, I think you've really been able to take that momentum and just run with it. And I mean, our building is used on a month, every weekend basically.
May is completely booked, even throughout the week. Some days, and the only date that we have available right now is Sunday, May the 5th.
For the main floor.
For the entire, for all the rentals. And so I'm very excited and we have some consistent, like, people that have had parties here that just go ahead and book. Like, I have this one sweet little lady who they had their Christmas party here, and they did in 2022 and loved it. And so they came back last year, and the minute that event was over, she went ahead and booked her Christmas event for this year.
That's awesome.
So we have those that know that this is their place.
That's great. So for short-term rentals, what are some of the things people are having here? So Christmas parties.
The tea room is popular for baby showers, bridal showers, gender reveals, dinners, retirement dinners if they're a small event.
Because there's kitchen access.
Yes.
There's limited,
Yes. And they have the refrigerator, prep space, sinks. So they have that. And most people bring in catering anyway. Our auditorium is super popular for big events.
It's so beautiful.
It's now that the floors are refinished and it's painted and it looks, and we have central heat and air in there.
Yes, that was a huge...
those window units, one didn't work, two, they were ugly. But to have that all fixed up now and be able to keep our prices affordable for our community is huge, because people charge so much now for renting out these spaces. And so for us to keep it affordable for our community, so that's been wonderful, because our auditorium is great for, we've had schools that have dances here. We have
so like
proms, high school, winter formals, weddings, receptions, family reunions. I have a family reunion booked for May.
We've even had like full weddings. Like people have a ceremony.
We have a wedding package, so they have a full wedding here. Wedding, reception, all of it.
Do we rent out this Gilchrist room that we're in right now?
It comes with the wedding package, and they can rent it out, but we're very particular about this room.
Because this room we're in right now, it's more of a parlor setting, right?
Yes, and it's more of a formal setting. It doesn't have access to the kitchen, and we tend to not let people have food and drink in here, so it's kind of like a as-needed basis kind of a thing. And we've had like small support groups, and we've had book clubs and things, and this is the perfect room for that.
You know, when Dawn was interviewing, I wanted her, she and I, to talk about our book club.
Yes.
We hosted a book club here in the Gilchrist room for like 3 years, because she and I had a bookstore at Southern Antiques, Cottage Books, and we were looking for a location for a book club, and the Y was just the perfect location. And for about 3 years, we would sit here on a monthly basis, and we would have women from all ages come in. And we never said it was just women, but it was only ever women that showed up. But we read all kinds of books and would just come in for like an hour and discuss, and it was so fun. And I would love for someone to start that back.
Yes. We've talked about that, because this is the perfect room for that.
For anyone listening, we need a book club.
Yes.
Started here at the Y.
Yes. Go ahead.
So what's been your most favorite transformation of the auditorium that you've seen, like a renter come in and do, as far as decor?
Oh my goodness, we have had the best events in there. A
When
lot
they-
of them.
when they drape the ceiling.
That is like one of my favorites.
Yes.
It's so beautiful because we had a bingo night. You remember when we still had the drapes up, and it
Yes.
was like the fanciest bingo night that we've ever
Yes.
had, and it was so pretty. But that is one of my favorites. They also set up photo booths, and so seeing them come in and do that. We've had the schools do their dances, and so they always deck it all out for those, and so that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
There's a lot of fun events that happen in there, and I have them share their photos with me so
Yes.
that I can share them in newsletters, and so kind of give people ideas of like, this is where you can have your events. So
I love it so much. Well, any specific memory or experience you've had here so far that
just hearing all of the memories of just people coming in that'll just wander in off the street and want to know what the Y is, or they'll wander in off the street and talk about, this is the place. Okay, I heard my grandmother talk about this place. And so that's been really fun to just have people wander in and ask questions and want to look through the building. So
well, and Mr. Underwood's still here, and I didn't ask you about this earlier, but his artwork. Can you tell that story really quickly?
Yes. So he does these amazing photographs and then turns them into watercolor, and they are just gorgeous.
And he's here today doing all of our videography.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So stay tuned, because we're going to have some amazing photos from today, and I'm so excited about that. But yes, so you'll see his artwork throughout the building, and I love having that. So
that's great. And we love his portrait of the Y that he did for us. So
yes,
beautiful.
very much.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else, Brandy, that you thought of that you want to share? Okay.
I think
well, we
that's
just
it.
appreciate your dedication to the Y.
Thank you.
And all that you've done. We're looking forward to the next 100 years.
Yes, it's going to be fun.
Can't wait. All right.
Help us now, blessed Savior, as we go from day to day. God, let us fail or stumble as we go along life's way. Lead us on, oh Lord Jesus, for that happy home hide our sin, thy blood so precious.